I'm Kara, and welcome to Soul Inspiring Business. I believe that all of us possess unique gifts and talents that allow us to serve the world and our own growth in the highest possible way. Our lives are an expression of our thoughts, beliefs, and actions. And here, we will explore businesses, thought leaders, and topics designed to inspire, helping propel your own growth so you can live your best and most purposeful life. Welcome to Soul Inspiring Business. Welcome back to the Soul Inspiring Business podcast. I am your host, Kara Chaffin Donofrio, and I'm here today because we are in week 2 of our Abundance series. And what this 5-week journey is intended to help you create is to help lead you into being a more conscious creator of your own life, of your own business, and helping you create, attract more of what you want, more abundance, more joy, more wealth, more opportunities, where you can get into a place in your life, in your business, where things just do unfold for you in the right timing because you're exactly where you're meant to be at just the right time. And last week, we talked about grounding yourself and how do you really come to center, because it's hard to create. It's hard to consciously create when you're on the outside of a wheel being constantly turned and maneuvered according to events and emotions and things going on around you. And so we talked about the idea of coming into center, of coming back to your center, grounding into the authentic, beautiful person that you are, and being able to ground into that place. And from there, you're able to make a lot more impact in the world. And not just the world, but you're able to be more impactful, more thoughtful, more aware of things unfolding in your own life and how you are in constant creation with all those things. So, not sure if you've had a chance to play with some of those exercises or not. I know that I'd shared a few with you, and something I didn't share last week, I think I've talked on the podcast a little bit about it, but one of the things that I really like doing when I'm thinking about how do you kind of ground into the moment, how do you ground into your day? And for me, one other kind of way of seeing it or visualizing it is really being very rooted into the present. So literally what I mean by that is thinking of, your legs and your physical body, and how do you ground into the physical place that you're in, right? So an easy way to do that is in nature. That's one of the reasons that nature can be so grounding, is because you're literally walking on the earth. But how do you ground into the moment? By being physically there, present, grounded into the space that you're in, but also this idea that in all moments you can ground into the physical space you're in, and also open up I like to think of it as kind of opening up from the top of your head, opening that to all that is, sort of almost in a crown-like fashion, right? But really allowing all the intuition and guidance and all the things around you to come through you from the top of your head, and then ground into where you are in the physical, where you are in the moment. So I know that's a little, that's just to kind of give you a visual of what that can practically look like. And when you can be grounded into the physical space you're in, and also completely open to the ideas of creation, the intuitive guidance, the wisdom that is available to you that often might come through that top of your head and down through your body, you're then kind of grounded from below while also being open to all that is. So it's another way of seeing it. definitely more woo, but I share that with you because it's, I think, good to sort of practically see that in motion. And if you want to visualize sort of almost like energy coming through the top of your head, grounding into the earth, and then coming up through the earth and grounding out the top of your head and around in kind of a circle, that's another way to kind of see this in motion, so to speak. So hope that's helpful. But as we talk about, again, kind of getting in tune, the purpose of grounding really is to get in touch with you, getting in touch with the creative self that you were designed to be, getting to know yourself again. If you've been a little distracted or gone off course, how do you come back into, I guess the word alignment can get overused, but how do you come back into alignment really? And what I mean by that is coming back into the core, your core essence. Who were you designed to be in this lifetime, in this time and moment and present space? And again, having some type of practice that gets you in touch with that, which gets you in touch with the present, which grounds you into the place that you are. I think when you're in that place, again, this creative intuition and guidance that we were all given, it's easier to access it. It's easier to access that creativity and to kind of lean into the creative being that you were created to be. And it's interesting because when I hear the word creative, for so many years, really decades, I did not think of myself as creative at all. And that's really because when I thought of creative, I really was equating it with artistic. And I am not an artist in a drawing sense. I mean, I will say if you saw me even in Pictionary with my family, there's a lot of jokes. I have a really hard time drawing things that people can understand. So Pictionary, not my strongest suit, but artistic ability, drawing ability, the ability to draw things is one layer of creativity. And so as I came to understand that, I realized, wow, I actually am very creative. I just can't draw, but I'm very creative in terms of, and we all are, because I think that's what we're designed to be in this lifetime. We were designed to be these creative beings and create anew and maybe create things. And then we think, gosh, I don't know if I want that anymore. So you create something different because you're following the path of joy, of abundance. And even by contrast, some of the experiences that we've had that we could define as negative, they then move us into a direction of where we're going because we think, gosh, I don't want to do that anymore, right? When you've gotten so sick of doing something that's quite negative or doesn't bring you joy, then that's serving a purpose too, because it's leading you into your next creative choice. And so I want you to kind of, as we lean into this abundance series, to open yourself up to the fact that you are creative, whether you see yourself like that or not at this time. You are a creative being designed to create. And because I'm an entrepreneur and in business, I love creating business. I love creating ideas and ways to assist our clients and ways of streamlining things and making things easier for people to understand. So that's my way of creating. Yours could look quite different. But again, opening yourself up to this idea that you are a creative being, and also the idea behind this abundance series is that you get to create a business and a life that you love. And if that's a new concept to you, then welcome. I'm excited to help you create more of what you want. And if you've been doing this for a while, then I'm sure this message might resonate with you. And let's continue to create in fun ways that are going to open you to even more layers upon layers of abundance and opportunity and all the things that are just waiting to be created for you. And there's this idea that I wanted to talk about today of, and this actually came from my business coach, so I'm going to give her credit for it. But when she said it, I really got covered in goosebumps. And what she said is, anyone can build a castle, right? You can look at a business or look at something and there's a blueprint for creating a business, for creating a castle, so to speak, right? But I would like to not just build a castle, but create heaven on earth. How much more powerful could that be? Right? So you're not just building a castle, but you're creating your own version of heaven on earth. And wow, isn't that awesome that we have the power to do this? And that we're stepping into new layers of creation to make that happen for ourselves. But for a long time, I know speaking for me personally, I was kind of stuck in creating patterns that were just old patterns that led me in anxiety and stress. And so it's taken lots of years for me to understand this concept more fully. So wherever you are on the journey, that's okay. But I think the idea is that I'd like to, or the intention is to open you up to the possibility that there could be a heaven on earth waiting for you. And that how awesome could that look like? What could that look like for you? How awesome could that be? And if you've been listening to this show for a while, I say this a lot. I'm going to say it again, but whether or not you're always creating your experiences, your life, the question is whether you are consciously creating or you're unconsciously creating. So you're creating in every choice you make. Even not making a choice is a choice, right? Because everything you do, life is a series of choices. And I like to look at life as a big buffet, right? We have this array of choices available to us and experiences. And so we get to choose which experiences we want to lean into in the moment. And some of those buffet choices, maybe we pick something up and we think, ooh, this doesn't taste very good. Don't like this one. Not a great choice. I'm going to put that back. Let me try this over here and let's lean into that. And so, if you like to think of it as life experiences, again, life as this big buffet, where do you want to invest your time? And what is it that you want to try next? What is it that you want to create next? And it's a big question, especially if you are new to thinking about this. Or even if you're not, it can be a little overwhelming when people say, well, gosh, what does the perfect life business look like? I know I've been in conversation with people and it's a big answer. And sometimes it's so big, they just don't know. And so the reason that they're stuck is because they haven't taken the time to really understand what it is they want. Because how can you create a roadmap? How can you lean into the things that you want to create if you don't even know what those look like or what those feel like or, what you want? So part of the creating your own personal heaven on earth starts with a leading you through what is it? Helping you get clarity on what are the experiences that you want to create for yourself next. And, again, we have the the negative experiences that can push us into, well, I don't want that anymore. I want to go here. But it doesn't have to be that way. We can truly just decide how we want things to go for us. And I'm a believer in making those decisions, on figuring out what do I want to craft next for myself? What would feel really joyful? For part of defining what heaven on earth is defining what that looks like for you. So I would imagine it might involve joy. I would imagine it might involve more love. I would imagine it might involve more money. I'm actually not a very money hungry person, but money does bring freedom. And that's a beautiful thing, to have freedom of choice in your life. There's nothing wrong with that. And figuring out what you can do to create and make impact in people's lives and get paid for it, what a beautiful thing, right? I told my son the other day, we were talking, he's like, well, Mom, I want to make a lot of money. And I said, well, that's great. And we talked a little bit about it, and I said, well, the key to making a lot of money is figuring out, on a very simplistic level, right? How do you align to who you are meant to be in the world? How do you align to your soul gifts? What do you do just extremely well and you love doing it? What does that look like for you? What are the things, the activities, the things that you love doing that bring you joy and that also make an impact in other people's lives? And then the key is, the more people you serve, the more impact you have, the more money you make. I guess that's how I see it, right? Because the more people you impact, the more people you serve, the more ability you have to create opportunity. You're making an impact, so you're making a difference. You're serving people in a beautiful way that aligns with who you're meant to be in the world. And of course, you're going to be compensated, and money is going to flow to you in whatever that looks like for you, of whatever you need, of whatever you want. And that's very personal. But that's kind of how you make money. That's kind of how the world goes, right? You figure out who are you? What are my gifts? How do I use them to make a difference and make an impact in the world? And then in turn, you serve people, you're compensated for it. You serve more people, you're more compensated for it, and it goes on and on and on, right? So that's kind of, I guess, one way to look at it. I've kind of gone off on a little tangent here, but I think it's important for us to really think through, what does that look like? And again, it comes back to clarity. What do you want to create for you, for your life, for your business? What would be the heaven on earth for you? And I'll give you an exercise that would be great to do over the next week. And again, as we look at, we're not just building a castle. You are not just building a castle here. You are going to create your own level, your own heaven on earth. And what would that be? So I want you to first, there's this process of, I have called it journaling, manifesting things. My business coach calls it scripting, but it's this idea of starting to write the script for your life, of what you want it to look like. And there's all sorts of incredible studies about the power of writing things down. And I think that there is power. There's great power. There's studies from Harvard, and they've done all these things. And some of those have been in relation to goals, like the power of writing your goals down. And the people that wrote them down had a much higher probability or chance of reaching them. And so I think the same is true when we look at this kind of creating what we want. They are goals, and we're going to kind of script it for ourselves. So the first thing I want you to do is think about, what is a money goal? Maybe it's a monthly money goal. What would feel really good to you? And sometimes when I've talked to people about this, there's this element of feeling like, oh, well, I can't ask for that, or that would be too greedy, or that would be too whatever, what have you, right? I want you to throw away all that. I want you to throw away the confines of what you've been taught, of what you know, maybe have been taught is bad, or, oh, I can't ask for that, or I'm not good enough for that. No, 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 no. We're not going there. We're just going with, okay, what would feel really good to you? What would feel very juicy and lovely and amazing, and give you peace? And I like to, for my own self, think through a money goal that's somewhat realistic. I mean, I'm not going to ask for $1 million a month if I'm not even close to that right now. But, what would that look like for you? What do you actually need to survive on a monthly basis? And then what do you need to thrive? What would that look like? So start there, start writing down what that looks like. And then there's a few main areas I think that help to focus in on. One would be friends, family, loved ones, whether it's a romantic partnership, marriage, basically family relationships. And that's one sector. That's one topic, I suppose you could say, category is the right word. Then I want you to put one for health, or your just, beauty, body beauty, whatever you want to categorize that or call it. Another category for spiritual, whatever way that looks like for you. And then if you're an entrepreneur, even if you're not an entrepreneur and a business owner, but you work in a workplace, write down that, right? Business or workplace. And then there's a few subcategories of that I like to use. So one is team. So if you run a team, or if you plan on running a team, what does that look like? Marketing, sales. Again, I'm coming from a place of entrepreneurship, so trust what you're being guided to, or what feels right to you. Partnership is another one. My business is really built mostly by relationship partnership, so that's a big one for me. But any kind of subcategories that may be helpful to include in the business section, because after all, this is also a podcast called Soul Inspiring Business. So, we are focused on creating a life that you love, but also really designing a business that you love as well. So you may even want to include, clients, and what is that? So just do a subcategory of clients. And so then when we go through this exercise of scripting, what you're going to be thinking through is, how am I going to script out all that I want to create? What do I want these areas to look like? And one way of doing that, and if you followed any kind of law of attraction or anything like that, but you're going to write these in the present tense. You're going to write them almost as if they're happening now, or they've already happened. And the idea is that if let's just say we're using business, right? So maybe one part of that scripting looks like, I'm so grateful and thankful that I'm in a business that I absolutely love, using my gifts in a way that serves my business, that continues to help me grow and serve more people, and also really makes a big impact in the lives of others. I'm so grateful that I've am always guided to the right opportunities at just the right time. I'm so grateful that my business continually attracts clients and new business to me that I'm easily able to serve. And it just feels so amazing and so lovely that it just grows no matter what's going on in the world. I sometimes can't even believe it myself, but it just continues to grow and it amazes me. And I'm so grateful that I get to do what I love, that's in alignment with who I'm meant to be in the world, and that makes this awesome impact in the lives of others. Right. So that's a little bit more general. You can get into some specifics as well, of maybe some specific things you'd like to happen. Maybe there's a contract that you're really wanting to secure. And so it's really just scripting that out, right? It's saying, and I can't believe that this contract came into place so easily, so much better than I could have even imagined. I met the right person and was guided to then the next right person. And it's almost like it just magically came together in a way that I could never even have imagined. Wow. Like, thank you, thank you, thank you. This is better than I could have ever hoped for. And I'm so glad that I'm doing blah, 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 whatever it is. Right. So that's some ideas about the business side. You could script the family relationships. Maybe it's a marriage that you're, scripting that, gosh, I'm so grateful that I'm found the right partner for me that complements me, that even when things can be difficult, I trust and know that I'm, exactly where I'm meant to be. And I'm grateful that I've got a partner that does XYZ for me, So you, again, are just scripting out all the things that would feel really amazing as if they're either happening or already happened. And this process, again, I like doing it when you're grounded. So kind of piggybacking on the last episode, because there's an element of creativity that comes into play. And sometimes when you're writing, you access different levels of your own, I would call it maybe different levels of your own potential, your own guidance, and just see where the page takes you, right? Start writing, and also maybe even ask, but as you're writing, for some guidance, or for just continuing to ask yourself, what do I want to create? What would feel really joyful and amazing? And allow yourself to kind of play and have fun with this exercise. And the other, I think, key to it is recognizing that I believe that we are in conscious creation with a creator. So I would call it God. Some people call it universe, whatever you want to call that creative force that is within us all and all around us. But I always like to give a nod to, this is what I'd love to unfold, but God, if you have a better plan for me, or if there's something that I'm not seeing from my limited scope, then by all means, I'd love to have this happen or better. So you're opening yourself up into even a higher level of potential, of possibility, so that, maybe it could even unfold in a better way than you ever imagined, right? And so it just gives you that additional layer of that, yes, this is what I'd love to happen. But I also know that I don't know all, that I am human. And if there's a better plan, if there's something actually that you see that would be better for me, that let's allow that to happen instead, right? So it just allows space. I think the idea also with this whole process is that it's designing it, it's being really intentional about how you want things to unfold, and not just writing it one time, but coming back to this and playing with it, because life is play, life is fun. It's about creation, constant creation, consciously creating in each moment. And so the more you can play with this and have fun with it and come back to it and allow it to be this joyful unfolding, then you really are leaning into creating a heaven on earth for you, your own creative version of what that looks like. So I'm excited for you this week. I'd love to hear your thoughts on how it's going. And we will be going into week 3 next week. I haven't actually designed the next number 3 yet. This has been, speaking of creating, sort of an evolution in creating where I'm actually guided into what's next for you. So I'm going to be leaning into what's next for you in the process for week 3. And I'll be back next Thursday, and just really excited for you and holding the space and intention. This is a powerful way forward for you to leaning into a next level. Because maybe you're already in abundance, which is amazing. But let this be the next level for you. That's the intention that I'm holding, is that this is a magical miracle for you to start creating anew. So with all that said, I'm wishing you lots of love, and I will see you next time. Loved being here with you today, and would love to connect with you more over on Instagram. My handle is linked to the show notes, or you can just type in @Chaffin Donofrio. And I have something special for you as a free gift, my Dynamic Life Journal. This special book has the power to really help you live a soul-inspired life. Go to freegiftfromkara.com. Easy to remember, freegiftfromkara.com. Until next time, beautiful people, sending all my love.